the Kite Runner. I am currently up to page 88. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying his writing. And I'm enjoying the fact that I'm so immersed in the story. I am not enjoying a character. And when he said that he wanted to stab himself in the eye, I was just like, why haven't you done it yet? You should do it. Because, you know, you're a terrible person. You're a terrible little 12-year-old boy. Fuck you. You little terrible 12-year-old boy. Like he's a piece of shit. Like, oh my gosh, he's a piece of shit. Oh, I hate that. I'm telling you, anybody who's read this book, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anybody who ain't read it, bitch, read this so you can know what the fuck I'm talking about. This little kid is, ooh, he trash. Ooh, he trash. Like, I'd be, but seriously, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Like, he's a piece of shit. Like, I hate it. I hate working. Oh gosh, I hate that kid. I hate him so bad right now. Trash individual. Trash. Trigger warning for sexual assault and rape. That we didn't need to happen at all, but it happened. But I also kind of understand why it happened because we were dealing with a sociopath. I'm enjoying it a lot. I really like this. The writing's really good. It's very engaging and clear while still being poetic and beautiful. Like, I just love that it can balance the two where it just doesn't feel like super poetic and you end up getting lost in all this like verse of how people explain things and then you're just like confused. A la The Book Thief, refer to that. But I just love that it's just clear and concise. There's enough poetry to it that it doesn't just come off as bland. It comes off very impacting. It's still powerful and has a punch. For instance, the kite competition, the kite war competition in the book, so good. That was so good. That was such a great moment because I was in it like, it was like a car chase or something. Like, it was just like you were invested. There were stakes. It had tension. It was just so well written. I was like, a really good that like they were flying kites and I was all invested in like who's about to win this kite competition. And I'm like, I'm rooting for Amir. And I mean, I was kind of still rooting for Amir at that point. I mean, I was kind of noticing that he was a piece of shit. Like, he's a little asshole of a kid. But I was still like, you know, I'm rooting for him, man. Like, Hassan has his back. Hassan, like, down for him and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah. You know, like, come on. Like, get that, like, fly that kite, win this kite competition, like, win the kite war, get it. And then it's like, okay, Hassan's about to go, like, yo, he's got to go run for the kite. He's about to be, like, they're going to be kings of the sun. What, kings of the summer or kings of the, I don't know, kings of this kite competition. And then things took a turn and stuff like that. But the kite competition, like, how that was written, it was really written, like, awesome. Super well. Like, no more. I was, like, totally engrossed in it. I was just like, bitch. Like, I want you to win, Amir. Like, I want you to get your father's approval. Since your father values bullshit like this, like, I want you to win for that. You know, I want you all to win. Like, I'm rooting for you. At this point, it's just like, fuck Amir, though. Amir ain't shit. Because let's backtrack to Beyond the Good Words. It's just like, fuck Hassan. Fuck Amir, okay? Hassan deserves way better than Amir. Amir ain't shit. Fuck that bitch. Like, I'm not over it yet. I just can't be over it yet because Amir's a piece of shit. Like, he just is, you know? Like, there's a part in the book, Amir leaves Hassan out to dry. Just, like, hangs him out to dry to just be, like, in the wind, to just be fucked up, basically. Amir feels guilty about it. And then he's just like, like, I should stab myself in the eye. I'm just kind of like, you should stab yourself in the eye. Because you deserve it. You deserve to stab yourself in the eye. Maybe stab yourself in the temple. Like, die. He's a piece of shit. I can't stand that kid. I really can't. He was, like, terrible. Ugh. I don't know. Hassan was trash. He's just a trash person. He's just a trash character. Like, he's just, like, I just can't stand him. I just can't. Having a friend like Hassan, Amir should be more evolved, should try to evolve more as a person, where it's like, yo, this is your friend who he's willing to stand up for you, have your back. He's willing to just be there for you, you know, he's willing to be like, yo, I will have your back, son. And Amir is just like, Amir's like, no, you're just Hazara. Like, I can't do that. Like, that's not a thing I can do. I don't know. It's like Hassan deserved better because Amir is a self-centered, mean asshole of a kid. He just is, and I think that's part of like because of the father that he grew up with, because his father was not very affectionate to him. But at the same time, I feel like you're 12. Like, I feel like you may still be a kid, but you should still have enough. I don't know, what's the word? Like compassion in you, having Hassan as a friend. But you see, it says something about Amir. That's why it came up a little later who Amir really is. Amir is kind of a coward. He's kind of a piece of shit. And at the same time, I could kind of relate to that. Ways it's like, like I get that at 12 you can't really. I don't know. Amir's a coward, and I don't see it for him. I don't see it for him. I think he's an asshole, and I don't know. I'm gonna kick him in the throat. I really want to kick him in the throat. At this point in the story, like at this point where I read to, kind of disappointing. The last I read, he just met this girl. I'm just like, girl, run for the hills. He's like into her, and I'm just like, girl, he's gonna fuck up your life. You know, because I just realized something. Amir is basically what Tasha on Insecure said about Lawrence. I think that was like the 3rd episode of season 2 in Insecure. Tasha told Lawrence that, yo, you a fuckboy. But the thing about it is, you a fuckboy that thinks you're a nice guy. And that's how I feel about Amir. I feel like he thinks, you know, he's like such a nice guy or whatever. So, you know, he has such compassion or whatever. But he's a fuckboy though. He's a piece of shit kid. Like, fuck that kid, man. Like, fuck his shit. Like, he ain't good. Like, ugh, he's a terrible kid. See, the reason why I'm just not over the fact that Amir is a piece of shit is that all in a matter of 2 chapters, Amir has compounded his despicable nature or nurture. And I feel like Hassan and Ali should not have had to deal with any of the pain or pressure that they have had to go through. It should have been Amir. And it should have been Amir's father, because they are terrible people and they deserve to feel it. I don't care. I don't care how much you made me kind of sympathize with his character. I don't like him. I don't like neither one of them. No, they're terrible. Fuck them. But so far, he's not been that bad. But I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop and for him to be a piece of shit again. So I'm just like, you know. His dad's being a piece of shit right now because his dad is stubborn and like an asshole. I don't know, I'm just over him and his dad. I will say at the beginning of the book, like in reading like Hassan and Amir's like friendship, I kind of felt like there was gonna be a little bit of like boyhood first love kind of thing going on. I thought it was gonna get a little gay, but I didn't really get that gay. I don't know if he'll get gay in the future, but I don't think so because Amir's into a girl. I don't know. He could be bisexual. Who knows? We will see what the future holds. But honestly, that didn't happen. Something else did. Trigger warning, sexual assault and rape moment. That did solidify for me how shitty Amir is as a person, as a character. It just solidified him as just a terrible person, and fuck that kid. Still, fuck him for the rest of his life. I'm over it. I'm just over him. I really love some of the quotes from the book. I don't know, there's one quote that I found very profound. It was like practically a page of a quote that I thought was so profound. On page 26, I think it was like Amir talking about like his father, where he's just like musing on the fact that his father doesn't show him enough affection and his father doesn't completely seem to like him. And I'm just like, I understand why your father doesn't like you because you're kind of a piece of shit, but then also he should be a little bit more unconditionally loving to you, because the reason why you are kind of the shitty person that you are because your dad's kind of like not treating you in a way that would embolden you to be a likable person. You know, Although Hassan likes you, and I'm just like, Hassan, let it go. He's not, no. You don't need to defend this little piece of shit. Like, you just don't. He's terrible. He's a terrible kid. I'm not over it. Amir says, after all, didn't all fathers in their secret hearts harbor a desire to kill their sons? And I'm just kind of with it. Like, maybe some fathers just really want to kill their sons. I think part of that has to do with just not being proud of your son, so you'd prefer that he died instead of you have him, but you just don't want to because you created this child. Like, you were a part of the process of creating this child, so you ain't gonna get rid of him that easily. On page 28, in a letter from Rahim Khan, who is Amir's father's like best friend, who he like smokes and drinks with, who shows more paternal affection toward Amir. He writes Amir a letter after reading one of Amir's stories. He says, God has granted you a special talent. It is now your duty to hone that talent, because a person who wastes his God-given talent is a donkey. And I really like that, because it's in a way it's kind of like a motivational thing where it's just like, you have this talent to do something great, and it's like God-given, so it's like, don't mess it up. Win with that, you know? Don't just waste it. If you're not, you'd be a donkey to do it. You'd be like an ass, but at the end of the day, Amir's ass anyways, it really doesn't fucking matter. So that's that. But the one that I really liked the most so far was on page 16, where Amir's father, like, they're having a moment where Amir is sitting on his father's lap in, I think, his father's study or bar or lounge. I don't know. It's where his father smokes and drinks. Amir is telling his father about like what he's learned in school from the what they call mullahs, which I'm guessing are like teachers, religious teachers, who are teaching like these kids about the Quran and about the things that they learn in the Quran. Amir's father comes back and says, there's only one sin, only one, and that is theft. Every sin is a variation of theft. When you kill a man, you steal a life. You steal his wife's right to a husband, rob his children of a father. When you tell a lie, you steal someone's right to the truth. When you cheat, you steal the right to fairness. There is no act more wretched than stealing. A man who takes what's not his to take, be it a life or a loaf of naan, I spit on such a man, and if I ever cross paths with him, God help him. And I just felt like all that was just like so like deep and intense. All in all, so far I am at page 125. I'm on chapter 12. I am just hoping that Amir does not fuck up the life of his swap meet queen. I just hope he doesn't fuck anybody else's life up. I'm kind of just hoping that he gets stabbed in the eye or dies or something. Like, just dies horribly. And I would feel no remorse for it, because it was just like, you deserved it. But I'm pretty sure there's still so many pages, so I feel like he's gonna get a redemption arc, and I'm like, you don't deserve a redemption arc. I don't care if you were 12. You're a terrible kid. Get out of my face. I hate you. I'm done reading The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This book has well-formed, layered, and complex characters. Some of them infuriated me, because Amir got on my nerves a lot for just like just the way he thought and the things that he did, and I was just like, or didn't do, and I was just like, yo, why are you this despicable? But then I also kind of had to look at his father and how his father treated him, but also in the process you learn more about his father and realize that his father helped so many people, and that's why it's like, you almost kind of at that point also had to look at Amir like, why you were too I don't know. You were too busy trying to get love from your dad, but it's like you weren't following in his example, but at the same time, he wasn't exactly treating you like he should have, because of these secrets in your family. And secrets are another thing that's terrible in families, and they need to like get that together. Because it's like, with all these secrets that his father held back, and so much time and so much love was wasted because people were like keeping secrets and not saying things, and having these expectations of other people that couldn't be met. And then societal standards, like with Amir's wife, like, yo, like, Why did she have to? But it also kind of worked out for the best because they found each other. I said before that Amir didn't deserve a redemption, and yeah, he should have like died. That's the thing, is like, in reading this book, he got redeemed, and I didn't feel like he didn't deserve the redemption. It was just like, I can relate to who he was, because he's human and he's flawed, and he was 12, and that's the best you could do. Although he did some other more despicable, deplorable things after that. And I wish he had been like, just not been a coward, just not been terrible. But then at the same time, I had to be on my own, like reflect on my own self and be like, yo, in that situation at 12, were you that admirable and honorable as a person? Maybe there are other people who are, but are you like those other people? And in reading this, it made me realize that I need to make, my own adjustments to be a better person, especially in like our, I don't know, I guess in our current society, where it's just like sometimes you kind of write people off really easily because you feel like, oh, you're just terrible for that. But it's like, how much better are you as a person? I even had to be real with myself that I would probably do something similar to what he did, because part of it is there's a little bit of Amir in me that I've just had to be like, yo, I would probably not be any less trash than he was, but I don't think I'm that bad. I really don't think I'm that bad. I could be like, he could have did more. He could have been better. Like, oh gosh. As I read, I began to sympathize with Amir more. Part of me still held his past actions and attitudes against him, but I definitely did see his growth as a character. And the growth was like subtly well done, like such a testament to how great a writer Khaled Hosseini is. It was masterfully done. I think what keeps you invested in Amir is the people around him that you actually care about, like Hassan. Maybe his dad. His dad is kind of an interesting character, and I appreciate his dad. His dad was a hard ass, but his dad was still kind of cool. But Hassan is just like, you want to know what is the tea with Hassan. Like, I want to know, because like, you connect with him so much through Amir's eyes, because Amir is just like, yo, because Amir is trash, but Amir sees the good in who Hassan is. So Soraya is another beautiful character, just like Hassan. To me, they were the two lights of the story. They were just such sweet people. Like, whenever they came up, their hearts were so like good and so caring. Oh my gosh, they're just so caring, and it's just like, yo, I want to hug them. Like, I'm rooting for them. Like, I want to hug you. You know, it's just the moments when they're just like make you sad about their lives. Like, oh, it's like they're just too good for the world. But as much as Soraya and Hassan were such beautiful characters, I don't think they were perfect characters, but their good outweighed the bad. Unlike Asaf. Asaf was, like the book said, he was like, what, a sociopath? A psychopath? He was terrible. Like, Asaf was a terrible motherfucker. Ugh, the worst. Sora was another beautiful character that I felt so much for. When I realized he met Asaf, though, I was on the edge. I was just like, no, like, no, 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 no. I don't know. It just had so many tense and intense moments where you're just like, you're in it, you're in the action, and you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta get out of here. No, 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 no. Oh, can you save yourselves? I don't know. It was just like, I was like, oh my gosh. Oof, I was just in my feelings about him. And then when he got to meet Soraya, like, and Soraya's just like, her love for him, she was just like, yo, she cared. Oh, that was such a beautiful moment when Soraya was just like, I want to meet Sora. I want to meet him. I want to take care of him and all that stuff. And it just broke my heart when Sora wasn't able to like show her that connection with her. I was just like, oh, what the, nah. It's just like, this book it was beautiful, and it was just emotions. Like, I don't know, just thinking back on those moments where you're just like, yo, and that's one thing I noted about reading it, especially in Sorab and Amir's interactions. It just made me think of like movies like Curly Sue or like Matilda. There was another movie I thought of too. But just movies like that where it's like two individuals kind of find each other or connect to each other. One's in a good situation, the other one's not. The other person in a in the good situation kind of needs, they haven't opened themselves up to love, but the other person in bad situations is like so open to love or whatever, you know, and then they're kind of impacting each other's lives. Just, I don't know, it was just beautiful moments like that where you see people kind of like get the things that they want and they need, and it makes your heart like swell and burst and flutter and all those things. It makes you feel good, like it's so feel good, but it's also just like, you know where it comes from because it came from a sad moment, and then you see where that sad moment kind of turns into something really, really good. Another great character was Khaled Jamila, who is Soraya's mother. I kind of forgot Soraya's father's name because, oof, that man in that gray press suit. And then he was just like on welfare and just waiting to like, I was just like, I was done with him. I was like, get on my face. But I was just like, he don't deserve Khaled Jamila, because as much as Khaled Jamila was just like a little neurotic, she was just like, she was being a hypochondriac at times. She was just still like, she was just such a sweetheart, and she was caring and she cared about her husband, and then he's just like being all grumpy and not appreciating her food and then talking like terribly to her, and I was just like, but she's just out here like taking care. She's dealing with the fact that you're just out here on welfare. Like, she's dealing with it. Like, she's dealing with you, and you're just like, you don't treat her. You're just gonna really push her plate of food to the side and talk bad about it. Like, you don't deserve her. You just don't. And I was just like so mad. Like, I was just so mad at him. I understand why Soraya felt the way she did. She was like ready to be like looking at him in his press, old shiny polyester suit and be like, you're trash. Like, you're a terrible dad. Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you gonna treat my mother like that? Like, it was just terrible. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm just over that. I'm like, Soraya, how is it possible that you came from him? Because he's terrible. He's a terrible man. That's why he's got those headaches. That's why he had those headaches, because he was a terrible person. Because what the hell? What the hell? And there was also Rahim Khan. He was inspiring and motivating. He inspired and motivated Amir to be, well, to make something of himself. Even kind of was inspiring to me and a little motivating for me too, because he was just such a supportive part of Amir's life in parts where Amir's father couldn't be supportive. One quote from this book that I found very poetic and it really touched me. This quote, I just liked how it was written, but it evoked so much emotion because it said so much about one of the characters, because it's just like, yo, it's so well written, it's just so poetic, and it's just so smart. I loved it. The quote is, "It would be erroneous to say Sorab was quiet. Quiet is peace, tranquility. Quiet is turning down the volume knob on life. Silence is pushing the off button, shutting it down, all of it. Sorab's silence wasn't self-imposed silence of those with convictions, of protesters who seek to speak their cause by not speaking at all. It was the silence of one who has taken cover in a dark place, curled up all the edges and tucked them away. He didn't so much live with us as occupy space, and precious little of it. Sometimes, at the market, or in the park, I'd notice how other people hardly seemed to even see him, like he wasn't there at all. I'd look up from a book and realize Sorab had entered the room, had sat across from me, and I hadn't noticed. He walked like he was afraid to leave behind footprints. He moved as if not to stir the air around him. Mostly he slept." I just loved how that was written. It told me so much about a character, and I also could visualize so many, like all those little moments, those little scenes that made up this, what this character, who this character was. So that's an example of how good the writing is, that it just doesn't feel pretentious or overwrought or too angsty. Just like, oh, I love it. Such a good book. So I had a great time reading The Kite Runner, and I will possibly read another Khaled Hosseini book in the future. For now, I will move on to something